Harlem USA, this is where it all goes down. DJ Ralph McDaniels cooling out on the set.
Yo, Uncle Ralph out there.
Yo, what's good, Uncle Ralph?
What's up, Ralph?
What's up, Uncle Ralph?
Your boy Flip De Niro, fabulous.
Fat Joe to ULE, and we live on the Hush Hip Hop Tour.
Welcome to Harlem, New York City. Uncle Ralph McDaniels, MTV. We are here. We are doing it, making sure it's going down. Hold up, let me get rid of this.
I'm no good, I'm so hood. Clap at your soldiers, sober, then leave after it's over. Killer, I'm not your companion or your man stand. Don't hit me when you want to get rammed in. I be scrambling with lots of
Harlem USA, this is where it all goes down, the Mecca. Big up to my man Andre Harrell. Created some incredible music, Uptown Records, and that's where Diddy got his start, man. He started Bad Boy Records after that, and of course you know the legacy. Notorious B.I.G., Craig Mack, Mary J. Blige, all these people came out of this same camp, man, all with that Harlem swag, that Harlem style. And this is where it all jumped off, right here in Harlem, baby.
with bandanas, listen to my homeboy Santana.
With the, I'm telling ya, put a shell in ya. Now we bleeding, get him, call us, he wheezing, he need us, he screaming.
We uptown, big up to my man Greg Marius. We about to take it to the people, of course. We are doing it today. We are at Rucker Park, EBC. This is where it all goes down. Now, what's the EBC? It's where the NBA players, the local legends, and some of my favorite hip-hop artists touch down on this court. Jay-Z, Fat Joe, ASAP, the whole crew. You might catch my man MGK over there on the court right there doing a crazy freestyle. And we can't forget when the legendary, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant touched down on this court. This is Harlem, baby.
Coochie down to the socks like I'm Biggie Popper.
Uptown, baby. We gets down, baby. Oh, MTV, wait a minute. It's going down. Gotta shout out my man SNS. Gotta shout out my man, the Kid Capri. Gotta shout out Ron G. Look, we here. We getting ready to take a ride. We going uptown, baby. That's the way we doing it. Big shout out to DJ Hollywood. Big shout out to my man, Lovebug Starsky. Rest in peace. One love, baby.
Got me feeling like Jim Jones. I'm a pimp out, no limp out. Couldn't copy my style, you can't.
What's the deal, Bob Love?
What up, Ralph?
Hey, Bob, man, I was at the Rucker today, and I know you come from that energy and that experience being on those courts. And I always see, you have on always some special shoes that you're wearing. Let's talk about sneaker culture. Young cats are, out here buying sneakers and reselling them. You see them on eBay. How does that work, man?
Well, it's an incredible community, and I respect it. I'm going to tell you why. Because prior, there were only a very select amount of parties that were engaged in the distribution of sneakers. And there was all this money, billions of dollars, created by this industry, primarily in New York, that created a phenomenal sneaker culture, which then sent ripple effects throughout the rest of the world. And then the world got this like mentality of like, oh wow, sneakers are cool. There's like that, that thing from the hood where it's like, oh, I got a new pair of sneakers, like I feel good. Not that we rely on material items to feel good about ourselves, but when you see some hot pair of sneakers, you feel good.
Hey, so let's talk about the band. You and your partner Stretch from back in the days when you guys have the radio show. Actually, you have the radio show now out.
So Stretch and I have been in broadcasting for 30 years. Actually, in October, we celebrated our 30th anniversary of our first broadcast. Now, to bring that out properly, we took a cappella versions of the classic freestyles from our radio show in the 90s on WKCR, which include Biggie, Big L, Jay-Z, Nas, Method Man, Ghost, Mobb Deep, Big Pun. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
Mumbling and whispering is what I hear when B.I.G. appear on the scenes and then get scared. Well, I'm not the stick up, man. I don't want the rings on your hand. I don't understand when I come.
So we had our band go in the studio and record original music, and with the a cappella versions from the freestyles, we remixed them and created like a new experience, which is like part 90s and part present.
Peace sign is our freedom. Sometimes they won't get that. Sweating me.
You know, we have that hip hop bone in us, but also we're not stuck in the 90s either. We're not stuck in hip hop either. So having the band allows us to kind of like have our feet on both sides of the spectrum. We got the 90s on lock, you know, like everybody knows the Big L Jay-Z freestyle, but now you got all these teenagers that are learning about who even Big L was, and people have been bugging out. People have been bugging out, Ralph.
I'm one of them. I'm a fan of it. I have the 45.
Word up. Thank you, Rob.
Hey, yo, Bob, I think I'm gonna go buy some sneakers and resell them on eBay right now, so I'll talk to you in a little while. That sounds like a good idea.
You might be able to get like $15 for your Bob koozies.
There you go. Bob Love, thank you so much, bro.
Peace.
Yeah, I told y'all we was gonna catch up
Around.
with the world
Yes,
famous
yes,
Brucey
yes.
B. I
Yes,
got a lot of questions, Brucey.
Yes,
I got a
yes.
lot of questions because a lot of things start with you.
No doubt.
Oh my goodness. First of all, tell me about the places that you used to DJ at and how the whole style came about, because I think that all leads to Diddy and Bad Boy and all of that.
Well, it started for me in the rooftop, 155th, 8th Avenue, rooftop, the live tapes, mixtapes, and everything. And you know, it was more like just having fun.
Yeah.
Having fun roller skating, partying. You know, nothing that was like planned, it just happened, Uncle Ralph.
You know, but I always feel like when you want to find out, I don't care where you're from, if it's Brooklyn or if it's Japan or Germany, you want to find out what's going on and what's hip and what's cool, you come to Harlem. And the way you present the music in a new way, like we say, no biting, you know, it was always something different.
But for me, what it was like in Harlem, roller skating was different because you know you had different flavor, but the flavor I brought to the roller skating, I brought everything. I brought hip hop, reggae. I brought all types of different flavor to it, you know. So and it brought me out different, you know, because I was hitting songs that people like, how you play that on roller skates? So I was doing hip hop beats, but I came from the original hip hoppers. I came from people like Love Bug Starsky, rest in peace, Busy B, Grandmaster Flash, Cool Herb. That's the era I came from, you know. So I always had that flavor. So when I got my chance, that's what I brought.
Well, you know what's interesting? We right now here, rest in peace to Big L.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about his crew and some of the older people that were in this area, man, from the 90s.
You had Mace, you had Big L.
Yeah.
You had Cameron.
Yeah.
You had Jim Jones.
Yes.
Because this is like, you know, just Harlem. This is the blocks when they be rapping. This is the blocks they talking about, all this area right here.
Let's talk about the mixtape game.
You know, everybody like, Red Alert, he gave me the credit for starting the mixtape.
Yes.
But I didn't start the mixtape. Just like when I came on the set with the mixtape, they weren't even mixtape, they was live tapes.
The presentation.
Yeah, they was like live rooftop tapes.
Yes.
Then, you know, after the rooftop closed down, then they became mixtapes, because I used to go on the rooftop and make, you know, just make the tapes live. You know, doing the shout outs. But see, like when I was doing it was like different because that was new.
Yes.
And it was like the beginning, it was the era.
Yes.
So it was crazy, man. And you know, those times was just unbelievable. From them time to this time, it pushed people and it promoted people at the same time, you know. But everybody in Harlem had a Brucey B on.
We're talking about the 5 boroughs. We're talking about the different styles of New York. Tell us about the difference in styles.
Harlem Style was like Showtime, right? And it's like when you come outside in Harlem, it's like, you know, not saying each hood didn't have its own runway, but it was more Broadway when you came outside in Harlem.
That's right.
So it's like, you know, your colors and, you know, it's depending on back in the days, you just doing your Pele Pele or, you know, your daps, and it's just the way that you shine and the way you put your looks together from head to toe. And even when I was a young kid, like, I didn't know I was styling or personal shopping when the hustlers used to go in their pocket, pull out the fat knot and be like, yo, Mike B, go downtown with my girlfriend and, yo, this is what I need. Yeah. So it's like, we were dressing and styling and doing shoots long before there were like actual budgets.
Yes.
You know, I always want to give my thanks and appreciation and show how grateful I am to Puff.
Yes.
Because, you know, that's the first person that actually like gave me a chance in this game, you know, from being his personal liaison and, you know, just be the intern to work with Big and Mace and, you know, the Locks. And Puff always had a knack for how he would tap into, you know, the streets and bring it to the forefront of whatever he was working on. The original Bad Boy logo was originally drawn by A$AP Ferg's pops.
Wow.
D Ferg.
Wow.
Right? So Ferg had his store on 145th between 7th and 8th, which was Ferg 54.
Ferg 54.
So even still to this day, when you see Little Ferg, Little D wearing his chain with the 54 logo on it, that's all derives from him keeping his pop's name alive.
Yeah. Mike B breaking it down right here, and big up to the stylists. Much love to everybody that goes hard and finds that piece and starts something new. I love it when something new starts.
Yeah.
chain, rest in peace to my superior.
All right, look, we in Harlem. It got a little late, but I got to catch up with my man, A$AP Ferg. Ferg, I know his dad too. A$AP Ferg in the building. What's good, bro?
What's good, Uncle Ralph?
Hey, look, this is mind-blowing to me when, you know, I know you and I know your dad, and I'm like saying to myself, wow, I've been doing this a long time.
Right. But you look young, man. You look good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. When I was thinking about talking to you, I thought about entrepreneurship and how immediately you jumped into the game and started branding your own thing off the top. Tell me about what you're into right now. I know the BMX bikes and a lot of things happening. You kind of reminded me too of what Tyler is doing over on the West Coast as well.
Right, well, Tyler's a really good friend of mine, and he's definitely leading by example because he did it smart from the jump. Like, he started wearing Supreme, and then, you know, like the first like year or two in his career, and then he figured out like, man, I need to build my own brand because we are like, you know, we are the voices of today. You know what I'm saying? When you think about hip hop stars and celebrities, every clothing line wants a hip hop celebrity or a superstar. So, you know, you just got to take that power into your own hands and have something to lean back on, like when you're not making music anymore. Like, it's like Jordan. Jordan don't play ball no more, but we still buy like the Jordans.
Right.
So it's just, I always looked at it at that way, and I always knew who I was. You know, from like, you know, when you talk about my dad and my just growing up and seeing his entrepreneurial spirit. And him telling me to always own something and always seeing him own something. He had a store where he sold clothes. He had a restaurant, Heggy's. He had a game room. He had a laundromat. He had a studio where he printed T-shirts. So I always looked at it like that came with it. Like, you could be fly, but in your own clothes. And I never knew how to just. That was the fun part of it. It's like, we are the trendsetters, so it's like, why not get paid for setting the trends?
chain, rest in peace to my superior. Hermes, link a feed a village in Liberia.